The Isu Enhanced Abilities in Assassin's Creed Odyssey are some of the coolest things that exist within this game, but it can be hard to figure out where all of those Isu Enhanced Abilities actually come from. So today I'm going to be going through each zone, Elysium, Underworld, and Atlantis, and be showing you exactly where to get each ability and how it works. Let's jump into it. Now, the first thing you need to know is that there are 4 insights in Elysium, and they are the Dead Hero's Haven, the Sunken Jaws of the Styx, the Veiled Altar of Hermes, and the Buried Silence Cave. I typically would recommend that you start with the Buried Silence Cave because you get one of the best abilities in the game here, and it's easier to get it on early rather than later. And the ability that you get here is Ares Madness. You can see the footage right here. Ares Madness is an ability that lets you summon the full power of Leonidas' Unbroken Spear. For 10 seconds, all attacks deal 35% assassin damage, and all enemy attacks are non-lethal. When you combine this with some of the other abilities, you can pretty much be immortal, and this is the root of all of the immortal builds. So let's go get this. So right now, we are over here. The nearest fast travel point is for Rafasa Point. And we're just going to jump off of here and go into that cave. So I'll see you when I get over there. So here we are. We've made it to that cave entrance, just jumped off the top there. And now we can just run on in through here. And for some of these, I must warn you in advance, I am going to speed up the footage of actually going in here because for some of them, it can take a little bit of time. And ain't nobody got time for that. But at least you guys can see it that way. This one is actually fairly accessible, and I may even just have some fun and use it to kill the guards that are down here. So we can just run on down here. And there aren't any guards here anyways. I already took them out. Would you look at that? But here it is. Here is where you get the Ares Madness upgraded ability in the Buried Silence Cave. Now, the next one that we are going to go to is going to be the Veiled Altar of Hermes, and that's because it has a really cool ability that I actually found to be super useful whenever I was doing any fighting, and so that's why we're going in this order. I will see you there. We have made it to Asterian's Claim. This is the closest fast travel spot to this next one. It is really right over there, and it looks so close, but yet it's so far. And this ability that we're going to be getting is actually the Ares Bull Charge. So this is actually one of the strongest abilities in the game. It summons a bull that charges through enemies and knocks them down, dealing 400% warrior damage. It's so much fun to use, and it deals a ton of damage to pretty much anyone who you're going to attack. Now, this one, there is one gotcha with the map. So this map is kind of a nightmare, and you actually should get up there through the core story. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but essentially you show up here with Hermes and you go through a whole quest with him and you go up there. Now, this is one of those that I am going to just fast forward the footage through so you guys can see it on your own time as you so choose, or you could just jump to where I'm already at the location. So once you get to those Wings of Hermes, it's actually pretty easy to get there from here. You're just going to have to climb all the way up there. And again, I will fast forward this for you, but I thought I'd skip the part where I got to here because again, you just have to solve a quick puzzle. So let's use these and head on over. Now, once you find yourself in front of this pit right here, right? There's the big ship up here, and then there's the pit. You know you've actually reached your destination. So let's jump on down here. And at the very bottom, you know that you are in this area, and bam, it's right there. And this is where you are going to get the Ares Bull Charge. Now, one thing that I kind of like about this one is you can actually fast travel directly out of here. So that brings us to our next one, which is going to be over here, and that's the Sunken Jaw of the Styx, and that is the Might of Artemis ability. And I will jump over there shortly, but before I do, let me show you exactly what the Might of Artemis ability is. Might of Artemis allows you to rain down a burst of arrows in a 3-meter radius around you, dealing 450% hunter damage, and enemies inside the area are stunned for 5 seconds and take crit damage from melee attacks and abilities. It's a really good one. If you don't have this equipped, you probably should. It's one of the best archer abilities in the game, and let's go get it. We have reached our destination, so you can tell that it's going to be right over here. That's where that drop is. But one thing you're going to want to have before you try this is Poseidon's Trident. You absolutely need this. It's going to make it so much easier to get to this. Trust me, get the Trident, and you can equip it in your second slot. You're totally fine. Or just something with the Breathe Underwater enchantment. I like the Trident. I think it makes it easier. Now, the fastest fast travel point that I typically use here is going to be the Rebel's Peak. Then you just jump off there, take advantage of the lack of fall damage, and let's go get this new ability. So we're going to hop down here. And I will fast forward this one for you. One thing I want to point out is it's right here within this crack. And don't miss this crack right here. A lot of people tend to miss this crack. If you just go over there, you will actually miss it. So let's go through here. And as with the others, as soon as you see the white pillars, you know that you have reached your destination. So here we are. We run on in here, no enemies in sight, and bam, there it is. There is the Might of Artemis, and you can see it is the third one that I have equipped on my wheel. You actually can't see it because my face is right here, but it's right there, I promise. And now we can move on to our fourth ability available in Elysium. Now, the fourth ability available in Elysium is going to be right over here, and it's in Dead Heroes Haven. Now, the one thing to keep in mind about Dead Heroes Haven is it's actually super misleading, because you have to get there by going through Gaia's Underpass. So you need to go over to Gaia's Underpass, just travel to where Hecate is, run through there, and I will meet you over there and show you exactly what it is. But this one is Kronos' Time Warp, and Kronos Time Warp is an evolved ability over here, and it lets you slow time for 5 seconds. Headshots performed during this time extend the duration by 2.5 seconds and increase headshot damage by 125%. The ability wears off after 5 headshots. This is a good one to have equipped, especially if you are trying to make it so your abilities are fully charged by the time that you want to use the next one. You can kind of get away with using this. We have made it to Gaia's Underpass. Now, this one is easily one of the most tedious of the different abilities to get. And so I am going to fast forward through this, but I'll at least show you guys the correct path as you want to go through it, because it can be a little challenging and you do have to do a puzzle. Sadly, I think you do have to do the puzzle either way, but let me show you how to do it, and hopefully we can get there quickly enough. Now, once you go past this big thing, you know that you've reached the right place, and just keep running on through. And as before, as soon as you see the white pillars, you know you've made it to the right place. And we come right on through here, and this is where we are going to get the Kronos Time Warp ability. Now, that concludes Elysium. It's time for us to move on to the Underworld, and I can show you exactly which ones to get there. Welcome to the Underworld, and you can see that I am already on the tribute to Persephone. Now, there are 3 different Keeper's Insights here in the Underworld. You have the Den of Judgment over here. You have the Hall of Mania over here. And you have the Birth Cave of Kronos over there. Those are the main ones that we are going to be going for over here. And of course, I would typically suggest you start with the Birth Cave of Kronos. Now, you should be able to get this through the Elpenor quest line. But if you decide that you're not doing it then you can do it whenever. But it's fairly easy to get to. So let's start there. And of course, we're going to go through the tribute to Persephone. Now, the ability that we're going to be getting through here is the Kronos Time Shift. Now, the Kronos Time Shift ability, not to be confused with any of the other Kronos abilities, is also a really fun one to use. Kronos bend times around you, launches you in the air, and time stops for 3 seconds while you're in the air. Nearby enemies are stunned. You can use arrows, which automatically crit, and you can finish with a ground smash when you use your heavy attack. Everything deals crit damage. This is an awesome ability, and let's go get it, shall we? Again, we are going straight down into the Birth Cave of Kronos, so I'll see you there. So we've made it to the Kronos Treasury. As I said, this is one of the easiest abilities to get, so we're just going to go over here, and we're just going to jump right on in here. Such a cool dolphin dive. And over here. And there are some enemies in here, so do be prepared for that. I know the first time I came, I was not, and I ended up getting really surprised. You can see there's some hounds here from the last time I was here. They will take you out if you are not careful. Be prepared to use a multi-shot arrow on them. That's what I found does the best. And of course, we just keep on walking through. There's some even stronger hounds. And bam! There it is. There is the Kronos Time Shift ability. Here you go. I can show it to you in action. Boom! And of course, you can finish with that. Pretty awesome. Let's move on to the next ability that we are going to be showing off to you guys, which is Artemis's Trickery, which is an enhanced version of the Devastating Shot. Personally, I don't really like this one. I don't use it. I'm not a big fan of it. Essentially, your arrows become deadly traps that detonate and deal 250% hunter damage to enemies that come in close proximity. You can use special arrows for this, so you can use fire, poison, and I think explosive arrows as well, which some people like. It makes enemies get lit on fire, but for me, I always preferred the Devastating Shot, which deals more damage. But anyhow, this one is right over here. It is at the Den of Judgment, and the best fast travel point I've found is Antineos' Fall. So let's head over there, and I will see you there. And we have made it to the Den of Judgment. Now, this is one location that's really inconvenient to get to no matter what you do. You have a few different options. I went to Antineos' Fall and then ran around the mountain and jumped over there. You could try and do the skipping stones thing here. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Or, depending upon where you want to come from, you could go to the Gate of Strong, grab the boat, take the boat over here. Either way, you get to the Den of Judgment. Now, beware here, there are some more hellhounds here as well. And so you're going to have to deal with them as you go through. Hopefully they are not here this time around. You just climb up here. There we go. And they are here. No one notices me here. Which is actually a great opportunity for me to just show you guys this skill in use. So here we go. Let's go over here. And let's turn that on. There we go. Let's see if we can't do something with this. So here we go. Bam. And now we can just sneak on in here. Bam. took out both the hellhounds. Look at that. So it can be handy if you're setting traps for enemies, but here it is. This is where you are going to get it, from within the Den of Judgment. Don't walk past it. I've been there, I've done that, but there it is. It is Artemis's Trickery. Now we are going to move on to the last one of these that is available within the Underworld, and that is the Hall of Mania, and that is Ares' Last Breath. Ares' Last Breath is an amazing ability. This is a must-have. I would probably get this before any of the others if it were up to me. Of course, you can't because you need the Tartaros Veil. But if you've missed my video on that, check it out on the top right side of your screen, because I do show how to get through the Tartaros Veil faster than ever. Now, what this skill does, and it's really important to understand, is you trade off your healing ability for one last fighting breath. You're immune to enemy attacks. 5% of damage dealt is restored as health, and melee hits received will be automatically parried. It also removes the effect of fire and poison when activated, and it lasts 10 seconds. When combined with Ares' Madness, you can get 20 seconds of near immortality, which is absolutely overpowered. However, for boss fights, this ability kind of sucks, because if you don't land hits on the boss, like Medusa or Hecatontrides, this ability won't actually help you out. So you may want to revert this depending upon the circumstances, but let's go get it in the Hall of Mania. Now, one thing to keep in mind with the Hall of Mania or Mania, this is actually the location of, I believe it's Achilles here. So be prepared for a boss fight, and that is probably why it wants you to have the Tartaros Veil ability to be pierced, so that you're prepared for this fight. Now, obviously, I've already gone through and beat him, but let's run on through here. Obviously, I have to swap on my piece of token equipment to go through and pass through, and let's run on in. And again, because this is where you fight Achilles, it should be pretty straightforward to just
area will be well defended.
Run on through. Go. And here you are. This is where the battleground is. I think it's Achilles that you fight here. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comment section, but I think this is who you fight here. But if you want to see the battle, check it out on the top right corner of your screen. I did go through and fight all the Fallen Guardians. And here it is. This is where you are going to get that ability. Now, we've gotten all three main abilities from the Underworld. We've gotten the 4 abilities from Elysium. It's time for us to move on to Atlantis. See you there. And we have made it to Atlantis. Now, in Atlantis, there are 3 more abilities, and those abilities can be gotten here at the Insight of the Titan, down here at the Insight of War, and over here at the Insight of Blessings. Now, the Insight of War has one of my favorite abilities, which is the upgraded version of the Ring of Chaos, which is such a good ability, and I will show you when we get there. But unfortunately, from a sequencing standpoint, you typically have to go for either the Insight of the Titan or the Insight of Blessings first. Now, generally speaking, the Insight of the Titan is less good than the Insight of Blessings. So I would probably start with the Insight of Blessings. That also gives you a ton of adrenaline, and the main thing that you're going to be getting from the Insight of Blessings is going to be the Blessing of Kronos ability. Now, this one was really annoying for me because, again, I usually use weapons that have the engraving with poison on them already, but the Blessing of Kronos ability is an enhanced version that lends you Isu powers. For 15 seconds, you receive 50% more adrenaline when dealing damage. During that time, you're immune to Isu adrenaline drain and freeze effects. So it's pretty good, and especially if you're fighting the Isus, this is something you probably want. It's also really helpful for charging up your adrenaline if you like to use a lot of overpower attacks, which you may want to do, especially, again, if you're going for one of those builds where you just want to live forever and be completely immortal. So let's go get the Blessing of Kronos from over there, and I can show you exactly where it is and how to get it. So one thing I recommend when going to any of these insights is get a boat. Getting a boat is going to make this so much faster, and you can get them on both sides here. So there's probably a boat right over here. There's a boat over here. just keep that in mind as you're going through and doing this, because the boats do make getting over to these insights so much faster, and it's way better than swimming. So let's hop in a boat and let's fast forward through so you can see exactly how to get there. And we have made it. So now let's head on in here. All of these look just about the same, and you will find that all of the abilities are located in just about the same place. There's usually a chamber right in the back. There's so many ways you can get over there. You can stealth it, you can run through, you can do what you want. But candidly, you're probably coming over here anyways because you do want to get the adamant ingots so you can use the Atlantis Forge. So these are probably some of the things you're going to want to hit first as soon as you land in Atlantis, because you get the abilities, which you're going to need against these Isu, which can be really powerful for no real reason.
Better stay hidden.
And let's get rid of this guy. Yep. And of course, we move all the way back here. And I should actually be able to show you this in action for you. So let's go over here. And boom. There it is. So it makes your weapon all glowy, and it increases your adrenaline gain when you attack enemies. There you go. That is this ability. Now, we are going to go in the order that unfortunately you have to just because of the playthrough. And that is, we're going over to the inside of the Titan. Now, inside of the Titan gives you an advanced version of Call to Arms. Call to Arms was one of my favorite abilities in the main game, but in this version, you can use Call to Arms to essentially summon a random assassin that will come in. It's a clone of yourself, and just take out the target. It deals 100% assassin damage. Now, to be honest, I don't think this is very good. I didn't really use it at all. I prefer to have some of my other ability slots used instead, and personally, I'll just rush assassinate as needed. But let me show you where it is and how to get it. Now, before you go, Shappy, this is the same place as the last one. No, it's not. They just look identical. So let's jump into the inside of the Titan and get this ability that, again, is probably my least favorite of the options available to us. And you will find that it kind of looks exactly the same here. So we're going to go through. There's some really cool amphorae here. If you're a Greek history buff, you would know that these things are awesome. I don't know why we don't see those anymore. Now we just see big jugs of things. Significantly less fun, if you ask me. I wonder if we can do this. Oh, that guy is moving. Nah, we'll just take him out like this.
Best stay off the sight.
Done. Easy enough. And again, it's in the same spot here. So we're probably just going to boop. Kaboom. Oh my. That was wild. Cool. So let's keep moving. And now that we've taken care of anyone who's a threat and demonstrated my complete inability to aim, we can actually show this ability off to you guys as well. So let's go ahead. Let's enable it, just so you can see how mediocre it is. And let's go over here. And 4. Bam. There it is. And so now we get that one. Now let's move on to by far my favorite of all of the abilities that you can get in Atlantis, and that is over at the Insight of War. And the Insight of War is going to give us the enhanced version of the Ring of Chaos, which is the Wrath of Ares. Now if you watch this, the way it works is you jam the spear into the ground and it pauses all of the enemies, including enemies that walk into it later. And it takes 14 seconds for them to be able to do anything. And they get killed immediately after that. So you actually don't have to attack any of them if you don't want to. It's kind of absurd. It's amazingly powerful, especially if you just have any bosses that are coming to attack you. This is by far one of my favorite abilities, and let's go get it. And last but not least, we have the Insight of War. Let's get it done. You can see I got Alexios all nice and wet for you guys. Let's get it done. Here we go. And of course, I did equip this ability, so we should be able to use it during this one. And again, it's going to be in pretty much the exact same place as the others. So let's head on in here. And hopefully we can just bypass all the enemies the same way we did the first time. Check this out. Now I can just walk away. See? We could even take a picture together. Selfie. Goodbye. And that's how insanely overpowered this ability is. Oh, we got a couple more. Let me show you this one in action. Easy enough. And remember, I'm playing on Nightmare. And here we are, the final of the Isu upgraded abilities. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like and hype it if you are on mobile. Believe it or not, I had to re-record this entire video because my audio got corrupted the first time. So that just shows my dedication to you guys. If you've enjoyed, do hit that like button. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button right up there, bottom right-hand corner. We have tons of new content for Assassin's Creed Odyssey coming. And the plan is to currently move on to Origins and then maybe Black Flag Resynced. So you do want to subscribe to the channel. Tons more to come. Thank you all. Chappy out.